The fashion that creates a beautiful world, realizes humanism through new technologies, and fosters human dreams. Fashion always starts with the Samsung knitting needle. The rich livelihood, the beautiful life, and the hopeful future. Samsung knitting needle is creating the world that everyone dreams of. The enthusiasm burning like the flame of a furnace. The spirit of craftsmanship that can see a bigger world through just a needle. The spirit of service that gives top priority to consideration for customers. Samsung Knitting Needle, the company that is doing its best to stand preeminently in the center of the world with just one product: needles. Samsung Knitting Needle has been striving with its sturdily tenacious view to stand preeminently in the world by putting its indomitable spirit of technological development and its persistent spirit of craftsmanship in a thin needle. With the same enthusiasm that it had when it first started its knitting needle business. With the full confidence of leading the global needle market through its technological development. With its faith in customers that takes into consideration their welfare above all in any situation. Samsung Knitting Needle is also making tomorrow's history today. The future in which nature is alive. The future in which knitting is nature. The future of grand dreams that capture life at the tip of a needle. Samsung Knitting Needle dreams of a future that lives and breathes through its needles. It dreams of a utopia. Fashion holds the spirit of the times. And the needles of Samsung Knitting Needle are the starting point of fashion. The dream of nature comes alive at the tip of a sharp needle. The dreams combine to knit a beautiful world. And the images of the world combine to form complete fashions. A world where all children laugh happily. A world where people can design patterns of their happiness. A world where people can knit love together, just as the lines of a thread can combine to design beauty. Samsung Knitting Needle embroiders a beautiful world through its needles. It embroiders the hopes cherished in people's hearts. The people who respect the lofty significance that lies in a bead of sweat. The people who transform obstacles that lie before them into stepping stones for their takeoff. The people who understand a customer's demand in advance and fulfill it. The people of Samsung Knitting Needle keep their faith and the value of their promise to customers through their beads of sweat. Samsung Knitting Needle, the company that understands a customer's demand in advance and does its best to fulfill it. Samsung Knitting Needle started its business in 1948 with the firm resolve to take responsibility for the Korean people's clothing with their enthusiasm for technological development. It has already been 50 years since we started with the drama of conquering the world with just one thing: needles. We know that we didn't start early, considering the 100-year-plus history of knitting needles. But we have lived our 50 years with a firm view of knitting the world with our needles, and with a single-minded goal of leading the world needle market. The success of Samsung Knitting Needle, today's top leader in the Korean knitting needle industry, is attributed to its firm will to invest its self-respect in technological power. with a keen sense that doesn't allow even an error of 0.1 millimeters, with the belief that we can produce strong but reasonably priced needles, and by devoting ourselves to technological development, we have built today's Samsung knitting needle, which is now making its way around the world. We know very well that the road that leads to the future will be longer and rougher than the one we have traveled for the past 50 years. But the challenging spirit of Samsung Knitting Needle is persistent. By securing skilled people with talent, excellent skills and experience, and by specializing our business line and developing equipment to support the supply of top quality products with the best prices, we promise to keep pace with the world. The fire at the Technology Research Center of Samsung Knitting Needle never stops burning. Samsung Knitting Needle is doing its best to ensure a stable supply of products through the development of heat treatment technologies, analysis of materials, analysis of defective products, various experiments, and data preparation, as well as equipment development, process development, and automated system development. With the unshakable confidence that technological development is the best way to fulfill our promise with our customers, we promise to vigorously move toward better and more perfect needles and quality renovation for the production of the best products. Samsung Knitting Needle concentrates its most advanced technologies on the needle. It starts with Samsung Knitting Needle's philosophy of pursuing human happiness. With the mind of a father who gives top priority to his family's happiness, we will pursue more perfect quality. With the mind of a mother who embraces her family with love, we will make a warmer world. Dreaming of humanism flowering at the tip of a needle, we will keep faith with our customers. Just as it is impossible to wind thread with only a hook, just as it is impossible to weave cloth with only a latch, we know very well that we can make a perfect needle with just one technology and just the spirit of craftsmanship. The indomitable pioneering spirit for better technological development. The single-minded spirit of craftsmanship that engraves my name on the needle that I made. And the belief in making the best needles. By putting all these things in a needle, we will do our best to bring about the flowering of the future of high technology and happy human life. Samsung Knitting Needle develops high-tech needle skills, realizes them, and pursues renovation for the next generation of knitting needles. We will produce stable quality needles that customers will use and trust. Remembering the fact that a small difference makes a big difference in quality, we will make precise and strong needles. With the spirit of an enterprise which gives top priority to customers, we will do our best to advance the ultimate customer service that transcends customer satisfaction. We will by all means remember the fact that a needle from Samsung Knitting Needle and a line of thread meets and makes a piece of cloth containing the figure of the world, and the fact that the cloth also becomes a fashion containing the spirit of the times. The hope of Samsung Knitting Needle is the starting point of beauty. The heart of Samsung Knitting Needle is the starting point of warmth. Samsung Knitting Needle's needles will be the starting point of the bright future of the clothing culture. Samsung Knitting Needle has grown to be a world-renowned company presently leading the Korean knitting needle industry. We will do our best to keep enhancing our name through reasonable needles, both strong and precise. Samsung Knitting Needle's challenging climb to the top of the world's knitting needle industry is now continuing. We know very well that you, our customers, have made today's Samsung Knitting Needle. Samsung Knitting Needle gives top priority to customers' considerations and will serve them with great sincerity until the last moment when our needles reach their hands. Samsung Knitting Needle produces needles that meet customers' demands by operating various after-sales service systems and does its best to achieve ultimate customer satisfaction and delight. There is no end to the challenge of a person who dreams of the future. Hard, sincerely, and single-mindedly, we will spare no effort to make the best needles that will satisfy customers. Needles that will fulfill their role in the development of knitting needle technologies. And needles that will make up the future of fashion along with human dreams. We want to embroider the beauty of the wool with a needle. And we will realize our dreams by all means. Now, there only remains Samsung Knitting Needle's challenge for the future. And we are sure we'll achieve victory in meeting this challenge. Keeping its focus on the future, we'll go forward rather than staying complacent with today's success. We will sincerely move forward, step by step. Samsung Knitting Needle, of its customers, by its customers, and for its customers. Samsung Knitting Needle will do its utmost to make better needles. Thank you.